This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Dude, I've tried digital Leicas before. I used to have the M10D, which is that $8,000 digital camera with no screen. It was cool, it looked beautiful, but the whole experience of it was just like, Also, I don't think you guys are aware that I have a cat or two. This is Barry. Say hello to the channel. Good. Now, I'm not saying the digital M lineup like the M10, 240, or 262 are bad cameras. A lot of people that I know who own them really enjoy using them. But of those people that I know, they usually start out with one digital Leica before that, and that's usually the Q series. The Q1 and Q2 are the only digital Leicas that I actually enjoy using, and that might be a hot take. But that's because the digital M's for myself personally are a little bit too similar to when I use my M6, and if I'm just gonna have a rangefinder experience, I'd rather just stick with something that's film where everything just kind of feels right. Barry, what do you think of digital Leicas? I don't think you could say that on YouTube, dude. I think the Q2 has been out for 3 years now, and although that camera is good, it kind of surprises me how people forgot that the Q1 was actually really good. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how the Leica Q1 is actually still valid in 2022 and why I recommend it over the Q2. So let's get into why the Leica Q1 is still good in this day and age.
Free. Let me talk. Whoa. Hey. Okay.
Perfect. I'm gonna go macro, so I'm gonna get real close to you.
Does this have an ibis?
Oh, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah, right there, right there. Where do you live, bro?
So I made a really stupid error when I was photographing this segment. If anybody can notice a difference in these photos or what I'm doing wrong, comment down below, and the first one to get it right will get an unsanitized high five from me.
Is that good? Is that good? No, that's great.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
All the pressure and the stress of my life, I just wanna be free.
I just wanna be free.
From all the pressure and the stress of my life, I just wanna be free. Free. From all the pressure.
Let's not forget that the Leica Q also has a leaf shutter. Just like the Mamiya 7 and the Hasselblad, I can sync my flash to all shutter speeds on this camera.
How much it matter? Things that I've done. Break that mold, but fit the right one. Flip that script, but stick the right one.
So, how did you think that the Leica Q held up? I was honestly very impressed with the dynamic range that that camera had for something that has been released about 7 years ago. Another surprising thing is how light this camera is. It kind of just feels like it's mostly empty space inside. So there are a couple things that I actually want to address. One, the thing that I did wrong during that shoot was that I shot the entire thing on JPEGs. Totally forgot to switch to RAW, but the presets still worked on the JPEGs, which is mighty impressive. And the dynamic range and the colors were still fine. A little bit clippy here and there, but nothing to really complain about because I got like 80 to 90% of what a RAW could have been like. The second thing is the resolution. Everybody who I've talked to, debating between the Q1 and the Q2, I've always suggested the Q1 or the QP. I've used the Q2 before. It's pretty much the same thing as the Q1. The button layout is a little bit different, but that 47 megapixel sensor is absolutely overkill for anybody. I've showed you examples of the macro mode, portraits that are a little bit wider, and I cropped into 200% and it looks completely fine. So 47 megapixels is not necessary at all unless you're printing, but I know that everybody who is getting into the Q system and is relatively young, I know where your pictures are probably going to end up. And you don't need 47 megapixels. But that's just my opinion. You could do whatever you want with your money and your finances. Go ahead and get the Q2 if you want. But here's the last thing that I'll talk about. The third thing to consider is that lens. This 28mm Sumlux lens is very good and it's one of a kind because it can only be found on the Q series. But the real M-mount version of that lens is $7,800 before tax. The Q2 retails for about $5,800 new, and it comes with that lens pretty much at a discount, and you're getting a body for free. And I'm a believer that it's the lens that's making these images so good and captivating. So if that's the case, the Q1 has the same exact lens and it's on the used market for about $2,300 to $2,500. You see what I'm getting at here, right? If you're getting a Sumlux at a discounted price with a free body at $5,800 new and about $5,200 used, then wouldn't a camera that offers the same optical package and still has cropping capabilities make more sense? Like, what are we doing here? In my opinion, that's already a really strong argument for the original Q, but let's throw this thing into a little bit of a low light situation and see how it holds up. All right, we're out here with Mr. Ben Yi, owner of 35mm Pro, one of my favorite labs that I use. Highly recommend them. What are you shooting with today?
Vector 400 with the Pentax 6.7.
Classic setup.
Give me a shot.
Yeah. Cool stuff. Cool stuff.
I could do like you sitting here. That was like about.
So what did you think of the Leica Q in a low light performance setting? I thought it was pretty decent, but you know what's more than decent? Making a website with Squarespace. Squarespace is a beautiful all-in-one website builder that you could use to create an online photography portfolio. It's really easy to pick and choose a template to be your new home for your work. I picked the Avenue template because I've always been a fan of the grid layout, and now there's a new home for my all-time favorite Wyoming photos. Squarespace makes it really convenient to upload and rearrange photos to your choosing with live updates, and if you ever hit a problem, you can contact their 24/7 customer service to get you going again. You can start a free trial today at squarespace.com/ChrisChew. Use my code ChrisChew at checkout for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. The Q1 is still a very capable camera in 2022 for your casual portraiture, some studio or flash work, landscapes, and low light photography. But let's talk about why I call it the middle child. So we have the Q2, which is basically the same thing, but it has a higher megapixel count, so a lot of people are flocking towards it as the more mature version of the Leica Q. And then we have the little brother, which isn't even a Leica camera, and I'm talking about the Fuji X100V. Everybody loves it for its small form factor, sleek looks, it's very lightweight, and its beautiful JPEGs and film simulations. I swear, people adore the Leica Q2 and the Fuji X100V, and both of them have like retained their value in the used market, especially during a time when it's super hard to even buy one of them. And this is why the Q1 is the middle child. It was completely forgotten between these two cameras, even though this thing is a full frame camera, so it offers more bokeh and more low light performance than the Fuji X100V. Plus the JPEGs coming out of this camera are extremely decent. They're so rigid that you could even apply a high edit like my presets, which will be available in 2 weeks, and it still won't fall apart. And like I said before, it offers the same optical package as the Q2 minus half of the resolution that you don't even really need. And the Q1 is selling for less than half the price for the Q2. And let's not forget, with the Q2, the files are going to be bigger, which means you're going to need more memory cards, which means it's going to require a lot more space, and that's going to be a hidden cost to that problem unless you hardly shoot. And then if you hardly shoot, then why do you even need this camera? So this debate between the Q1 and the Q2 is a perfect example of that question: is more expensive better? And in this case, I would definitely and confidently say no. The Leica Q1 is great. I still recommend it to this day. If you are watching this and you're debating between the X100V and the Q2, try giving the Q1 a chance. I think you will very much like this camera. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment down below about what you thought about my opinions for this camera. Although some of it was really strong, I want to hear about what you think about the X100V, the Q1, and the Q2. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace.